everyone. Welcome to another fun episode of Crash Course. We are hitting the end of week 2. Oh my gosh, only 1 week left, you guys. I'm excited to bring you an amazing guest and a regular at an Effect House YouTube, Chinyu.
Long time no see. For those
How
who know
are you,
me,
Chinyu, today? You are joining from an amazing studio that Melody was in. For those of you guys who have been to the previous live, you might have seen Chinyu make a small 3-second guest appearance on last time's Melody stream. She popped in to say hello, and we are excited and honored to have her here. One fun fact about Chinyu, I don't know if you're ready to publicly announce this in the stream yet, but she wanted to keep the authenticity and reality at 100%. So she wore the exact same outfit that she is in the thumbnail. So you are guaranteed to get 100% of what you see on the thumbnail. I absolutely love that she did that. So please give her
yeah,
a round of
thank
applause.
you.
Give her a hand emoji in the chat.
Yeah, last time the previous live session I did, I was using a cover image that basically the photo is AI generated, and turns out a lot of my friends said like, "That's not you.
That
You
doesn't look
you're
like you?
faking." You're faking the traffic. I was like, okay, this time I was just wearing the same outfit, exactly like the
Okay.
photo.
Now you know the backstory. Thank you so much, guys, for being here. I already see so many people in the chat. I see starting out with a V, the first one to get here. You're on time and ready. I see Blender Y Unity, welcome back with the little hand signal. I see Mike Blackcat, our ambassador. I see Wider Motion, Lesson, Heather McGee. She is not late this time. We love it. Missed you, Haley Cat Paws. Heather says, how does Celine or Carol, whoever manages the poll, come up with all these intriguing poll questions? Speaking of, the poll for today is, would you rather be in a dating show, a reality show, a survival show, or a quiz show? So don't forget to go cast your vote in to the live. But to answer your questions, it is me who is hosting and operating the stream at the same time. This is why we sometimes face technical difficulties, but guys, bear with me. I'm hosting and streaming and managing the chat and talking to you guys and asking questions and paying attention to Chinyu at the same time. I'm a real Renaissance woman, a multitasker, if you would say. So I'm so glad that you guys like the questions. Sometimes I come up with them on my own, sometimes I Google them, but regardless, they comes from my heart. And right now, dating show is winning by a lot. I'm not going to tell you guys the percentages, but definitely cast your votes in. We'll see at the middle and end of the course how the votes change. We are here with Nina saying hello, everyone. We also see Joe.
Yeah.
Welcome back, Joe. Florencia, I saw the comment that you left on our forum page. We are gonna go check that out later, so don't forget to tune in, guys. I see Lord. I see FF Hellboy. Welcome back. I see Humberto Production Viral. We love that. And Harrell. Welcome back, Anne. We see so many other people in the chat, so thank you so much, guys, for being here. And Chinyu, before starting our course, what is today's course about?
Okay, today's course as is we will stick to the name, debug. A very I would say it's like help you create an effect exactly like what you picture in your mind. So I feel like that's the most frustrating point in my effect creator journey is I have a super cool idea. I'm not sure whether you guys have the similar experience like me. The most frustrating moment is I want to create something and I was stuck in the middle because what show on the screen, what I test on my phone is not like what I imagined. So I was stuck. I don't know where to fix the problem. I don't know there's a better way to do that. And then I give up. So today I felt like, yeah, it's a time that we look back on the mistakes we made and maybe fix some of them and publish some good effects.
Chinyu,
Yeah.
so sorry to cut you off, but while we were transitioning, we had a little audio issue. But I
Oh,
remember that you were saying that this is a course that you wished you learned when you were going to school.
oh yes, that's amazing. Can you hear me right now?
Yes, yes.
Oh, cool, cool. Yes, this is this is the one course or lecture I wish I could learn when I was a game developer. And I just noticed that barely people talk about it officially or teach it like officially, but I feel like it's super beneficial. I wish I could learn it at the day one when I start to uh, coding or scripting anything. So I wish today we could share those tips and tricks with you guys from the day one, and you can actually have the mindset, have the skills, have the toolkit to help you fix some of the bugs you encounter when you create your effect.
Chinyu, tell us a little bit more about your background. How did you get started in the industry? How do you know so much about gaming? You suspiciously know so much.
Yeah, so I would say it's a very I would say it's a detour for my like entire since I learned from the college. I study interaction design, and there was one course just ask people to ask student to design a game and develop it. So accidentally, I got into this industry and learn a lot about how to use like Unity, other tools, game developer tool, and starting from there. So I think something I learned during journey is because I didn't start as a very computer science. So a lot of things I learned is in a more like a designer mindset. But I noticed that there is a lot of connection between how you design the app and how you actually develop it. So it's like when you have an idea of the effect, when you design it, you sketch it out, right? You have the framework, you put the UI onto your like effect, and then when you actually start putting nodes together to create that effect, it has a similar kind of process. So it's an audio
Okay.
issue.
Yep. No, no, the audio's fine.
Okay,
Sounds
cool.
good. I think we can start moving on. Uh, what is a most frustrating moment for you when you are creating an effect?
Yeah, so for me, I would say I think so. This is basically when I reflect back when I just getting started. Actually, it has still happens to me like all the time. So I have a super cool ideas, and I feel like, oh, is this gonna be viral? This is gonna be a lot of people gonna love it. And then I started putting codes together, and I stuck in the middle because I feel like it getting more complicated, more complex. I adding more nodes into it, like 100 nodes already in the canvas, and I
I
stuck
too
because
have that feeling where I'm like, when I have an idea for an effect, I'm like, yes, this is going to be the next big thing. This is going to be viral. And I have this amazing idea, but I'm kind of stuck in the middle of the process, or I don't know how to make it into a reality. Or the worst part, I think I know. And I spend like 5 hours working at this effect. And then there's like, it just doesn't work and I don't understand and I don't know like what part of it went wrong and I'm like, oh, I need to, why isn't it working? I put in all the works. I think it should be working. So today Chinyu is
yeah,
going to be
exactly.
telling us all about how to troubleshoot and solve for all this. So welcome to the class, guys.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like I just want to um ask for action now. So before we dive into all these kind of techniques I will share, everybody here, maybe go find one project you stop at the middle because certain kind of mistakes or you couldn't figure out how to develop it, and look back on it after this course and try to maybe finish it. I think,
Ooh,
um,
guys,
yeah,
we're dropping our mini quest early today. Usually, like we announce it at the end of the course, but today's mini quest for today will be to go into your files, find a file that you didn't know how to work, or I also experienced this a lot where I'm trying to open up like an older version and like the older version in a new version doesn't work. So you can try fixing some of that, but that will be the mini quest today. And don't forget to leave your results in the forum so we can all go check it out together.
yep.
Sounds good. Do you want to get started with your amazing presentation?
Yeah, let's get started. Go straight to the topic. So I think I gonna teach you a little bit more like conceptual knowledge about what is bug, right? Like I know we talk bug a lot, but it's actually a jargon. I felt like a lot of people using it in computer science. And I will say like it's actually quite literal. So this is the most like classic cliche I have ever heard. In the for the computer science people, like it's actually a couple decades ago. Like people find a mouse in the machine that caused the machine programming stop working. So this is actually a real bug that caused the error and stop the machine. So today I feel like we are actually trying to catch this virtual bug in our programming, in our nodes, and I will show you the process how to actually caught it. And yeah, I think before I dive in, I would love to hear people here. Like, have you ever created any bugs, or have you actually fixed any of them, or have you met any unfixed bug and you would love to actually look back right now? Yeah, just a couple question for the audience. Like, if you really have a challenging bug, I also encourage you to share it in our forum or Discord, and we're together to maybe help you fix it.
Heather
Okay,
Haley Kapaz is noticing that she has this experience. She says, I have an old foe in mind. So I know she's ready. She has a specific file and she's going to tackle it this time. Let's go. We'll fight it together, Haley. Don't worry.
cool, nice. Okay, cool. Let's talk about debugging. I know when we talk about debugging, and people's actually sharing that the audio is a little bit buggy. So I know like debugging is actually very how to strategic actually. So it's basically you need to find where the bug is and also fix it. So usually in our effect project, it could the bug could happen in your logic and the nodes you set up. It could also be the computer you are running your project on. It could also be the devices you're actually run your effect on that other people is using. So it has multiple courses for their actual bugs. So I feel like today I will show you the framework, like how actually you can debug and you can actually remove or find all the possibility and denoise to the most possible option that causing the issue. So there here is a really simple rule of thumbs I want to give you is basically I want you to test your node as you go before the bugs shows. So I think this is a very good habit that everybody should develop instead of like you already set up 100 nodes and find out the effect doesn't work as you like. It's too late. You won't be able to find it most likely. Like you basically get so impatient and feels like, oh, maybe I just restart. It happens to me. Like I set up like a super complicated effect project. I didn't test it in time. And then I realizing there was a bug, and turns out I just has to restart the whole setup in order to find it. So it wastes me a lot of time. And then I started to develop this mindset, like you always test it as you go. Like maybe just set a timer, like every 5 minutes, I start to basically test it. So I think a good start for everybody is when you start to put out your effect project is the first thing you need to write the steps. By steps, I mean here. It's like you cook the perfect restaurant steak. So this is actually one of the image that Celine find. I feel like it's still very comprehensive to help everybody to understand it. So basically, you need to cook this effect. But the step one to cook this effect, you need to know the steps very clearly. What's the recipe? What's the ingredients you want to put in there? You need to prepare the materials, the assets you want to put on your screen, and then this is a very great tips I'm always using, is like you just write it down. No matter if you're using like a text pad, like what here, you just simply write it down. Like step one maybe is user click on the screen, right? So it could be step two is the UI change the color. So as specific as possible, just write it down. And if you already have certain knowledge of development, you probably know the word of pseudocode. So here is some example where I'm using here. Like you could potentially just write it down as a pure task, like how this logic, your game logic looks like. And then as you kind of write it down more specifically, you will have a better starting point to start picking notes and realizing all to kind of implement your ideas. So this is like the step one. I hope everybody can start to do that a little bit for your next interactive effects. And the second one is actually something we have talked about it in our crash course videos last week, is your first note. So here I want to just give you guys a little refreshing moment. Let me just open Effect House here. Just give me a moment. I will pick one of the random.
Shinyu, earlier I was going to tell you, I usually find a bug, I just hit the computer and pray that it fixes, and it does fix it a lot of the times.
Yeah, I
Threaten
would
the
say
computer, like, hey, if you don't work, I will apply violence. That is never a good way. Usually turning my computer on and off, or like downloading the latest updated version of the app fixes it. So do that before you aggressively hit your monitor.
I would say this is a great mindset. I think this is something like I feel like it's happened to a lot of beginner when you start just setting up notes. You feel like I made a mistake here. I felt like I'm so stupid. I couldn't figure out how to set it up. But sometimes, trust me, it's not your fault. It's your computer's fault. And it's your device's fault.
Definitely not my fault. Yes.
Yeah, it's just not. Yeah, I think having that mindset is very good to start, because having that confidence and faith is like a precondition for creating a great, amazing interactive effect. Yeah, so I will show you, like, for example, like, so as I said, like you should have a very clear step-by-step instruction before you head into these millions of nodes. And the second step is you need to understand what will trigger this effect, right? So you pick your first node. So in this cases, this first node is the start node. It could be the start node to initiate all the variables. It could be also the update nodes that refresh the animation by every frame. Every time your monitor refresh the screen, it also execute the node. Also, we have more. You can choose under the event category. You can find we have like video record. This is also a very popular node that a lot of people use. Is every time people press this little red button here, it will trigger the rest logics. So this is also a great first node you could try. And also I want to share like which we already. I just want to reinforce here the way how to differentiate the regular node between the regular node and the starter node. So I will just show you something like called beads detection. So this is a node that you cannot use it to trigger the rest logic because it doesn't have this green triangle here. So in order for the node to trigger the next node to initiate the entire logic, you have to make sure that it has green triangle, which is our control part, to have it on the right side of your node. So in order for your node to become the first node to trigger entire effect project, you need to make sure that it doesn't have the this little dot here on the left side. So make sure that everything can be like the green triangle should be on the left side, right side. So compared to this node, like it has the both. It has a green triangle on both sides, right? So it couldn't be the first node. Yeah, so this is something like you need to think about when you pick your first node. It's always the most difficult part when you're starting something, and after you pick the first node, the whole process will be much smoother and smoother as it goes. So
If
yeah,
you
let
guys
me
want
jump
to
back
know
to
more
the
about
slides.
which node comes first and which nodes goes later, you can check out our crash course videos that's called execution order. That will teach you, okay, these are the nodes that I have to start with, like the trigger node or video record node, and these are the nodes that I have to connect in the middle, like beats detection or screen to resolution.
Yeah, exactly. And also try check out our kickstarting your logic as well. So that one focusing on the everything I just talked about. Um, yeah, and for the step three is you can start small and test it as you go. The last part, I would say this is a great tips that I developed. I feel like it's very useful when you start learning visual scripting. Is you can use our template as a great learning resources. So this is how actually I use it as a learning resources. So basically, I will go to the homepage. I will pick one of the template I feel super interesting to me, and I also want to create something similar with it. I will just kind of open it uh, here, and then I will start to play it in the preview panel. So here, you can see like how different user interaction react to the UI on the screen, right? And as you test it out, you actually understand the rule of the game. And I will go ahead, not dive into this complex node here. I will open one of the notepad. I will start to write down the game, the room of the game. Like first, the user click on the watering can icon, right? And then user drag it to their plant, and then their UI animation change, um, like change up and down, right? So I would just try to crack it down, boil it down to the steps, and then I start from there and try to pick the node and build the logic. So I will basically have my own project, set it up to mimic the same game room, and I will compare my nodes with the nodes that actually that our engineer developed. and I will compare the logic here. So let's say here is like, for example, if I want to do a click on the image and drag it, I'm probably gonna use the node one finger touch. Finger, let me just search it. Finger touch. So finger touch will be the node I picked, and I use it to detect whether the user's finger is touched on the specific image. So let me just compare it to what our engineer is using. So I will double click into it. You see it actually using this, and so basically you can compare what you picked with what actually got implemented in the template. As you go, you can see how our engineer actually develops a grab object. Like maybe you can. I would say like don't look at into the subgraph before you set up your own nodes. Give yourself a little bit trust, test it out a little bit, and then compare it with your nodes. So this is how you start to learn like to basically set up a very complex effects. Yeah, I will stop here to ask if there is any questions for the steps here or anything you want to ask.
Yes, I think Chinyu was also giving us a little preview of our next Monday session with Runza, saying there are no correct answer, only
Yeah.
good ones. So here you might discover that your technique is different from the template engineers ways, and there you can think about like, oh, I wonder why they designed it this way. Not only learn from like, oh, this is how they did it, but like try to go back and understand why they did it. Sometimes you can say like, oh, this is because it saves processing power, or instead of importing 3 assets you can just import it here, or oh my gosh, by making it into this subgraph type it makes it super easy to reuse in a different program. So you can analyze parts of it to understand why they decided to make it that way. And if you have an even better way, don't forget to leave us a comment on our Discord, or come to the live session and call August out in his face saying, hey, the way you did this, I think I'm better. No, guys, I'm joking, but I feel like it's a really good way to learn. And
Yeah,
in the
exactly.
meantime, people have been leaving amazing tips about how they do work with their visual scripting, fix bugs, and come up with new solutions. So we have a couple good suggestions from Florentia, Heather, and Brett. I'm going to read a couple of them. Heather says, another thing to remember is that you won't learn without mistakes. This is very important. I agree. I have learned through extensive trial and error. So you won't learn without mistakes. The hardest projects normally are the ones that I learn the most from. This is so true and amazing, Haley Catfaz. I'm so glad you're here. Brett says, Florentia does my best tip. Use subgraphs. You can confirm that an individual subgraph is working by itself. So this is great if you have a big project like something that Chinyu was showing and you don't understand like which part of it is going wrong, or like why your project isn't working. You can take like small parts of the project, like open it on the side, or and just check. Put it in a very basic module like screen tap, subgraph, and see if it works. If not, you can go more into that subgraph to fix it. Haley left another amazing tip that I use I think was genius. So she says that a tip I use often when I'm debugging in the preview panel is to record the screen, your entire screen, like me and Chinyu are showing you right now, and then you can rewatch the recording closely to identify each value and trigger dots to see what's going on correctly. So as Chinyu showed in her Effect House page, we have the green icon, which stands for trigger, and when you are going there, here, you can see that when you activate something, a little electrical current looking thing imagine that we have something like this, is going to traverse through the green arrows, and then it's going to see when she clicked on it, the button next to the set flashed from white to blue. So that is how you know that the node is working. And by recording the screen and going over really slowly with like Haley mentioned, you can see like, oh, this node is working, or oh my gosh, this other node should be working before the other node. So I think that is where she's using her really smart technique to take a recording, and I think that's how she's been able to create such complex yet amazing effects. So she has left many, many amazing tips, and other creators are chiming in as well. So we are going to read a little more of them throughout our tutorial today. So guys, if you also have a good recommendation, definitely show it to us, leave it in the comments, and we'll show it throughout. Okay, should we go back to you, Jinyu?
Let's So this is the starting point. Basically, this is like the heavy part. I know I just break it down into 4 steps, but I know it takes days to actually gain a sense of how to set up your effect project. But I would say start small and test it. And it doesn't necessarily to be super complex. It could be just a button trigger, a scoreboard, add one. So I think now let's get into the actual testing part. So as I said, you probably already have effect project set up, right? So now I want you to test it as you go. But how to test it, right? So I divided into three different scenarios. The first one is you can test it in your visual scripting canvas. So here is a very handy notes I would show you called peak. So this is something that you can actually have a peek on the data that output from each node. So let's say when I click on this water can right now, and it immediately turn the booting as false. So you can actually see how it change your node value as you go. So this is a very handy node that everyone use it when you try to test it out whether the output of the node is as you desired. And there is other way to check the value as well. So some of the nodes, let me see whether I can find one, has the actual value in it. So you can see like this one, get position is actually get the position of this song holder. So which is this object. So by the object name, the asset name, you can actually know whether the node get the correct input. Is also very important. And also some of the value you can actually just directly say it from the node itself. So you will see like how the value change dynamically during the runtime. And it's always good to look into the details and read through it. So I would say this is the first tip that you can start to have this habit using the peak node and using the value show in the slots for every nodes here to gradually test your nodes and logic as you go. The second place I want you to test your game is actually in the actual preview panel. So preview panel is a great place you can test out different interactions. So let's say let's say you are not using one finger, the finger touch as the triggering for moving this water can here. You want to use other things called open mouse. Open mouse is actually the facial movement. So this node, let's say we are using mouse opening to trigger the move. So I will not show the logic here, but I will let you know, like basically when you pick different detection node, make sure you also preview it using our pre-existing preview video. So we have a bunch of options here. We have eyebrow raise, like head turn, also mouse open. But if you don't want to test it on our virtual model in the screen, you can also turn on the camera and just test it on your own, and just open your mouse and do this do the exactly what how you picture the user will use your effect. So the key here is to not sync your not test your effect through your own lens, but test your effects through the user's lens. So try to mimic as many as possible scenarios that the user will use your effect. So it could be, do you want your effect to be triggered after they press the video button, a recording button, or you want it only be triggered, it can be triggered without recording the video. So different scenarios you need to test it out when you are in this preview panel. And I think also something I want to call out, I noticed personally I didn't do it that much at the very beginning, but it's super helpful when you start to produce more professional effect, is tested the UI for in different scenarios. So also because all your effect is published for the global audience, they have different devices and phones, which means they might have a Samsung, they might have an iPhone. Different screen has a different screen resolution, and it will cut out sometimes. Look at this, cut out your UI. So do make sure that put your UI, especially the important one, in the safe zone. So by testing it on the desktop preview panel, you can actually reduce certain scenarios after you launch publish or effect. So it's a very handy tips. Do not test it all the time in this high UI preview setup. Do try to see how this goes on other devices.
I think this
Yeah,
is
so that's kind of
especially useful when you are creating something for a brand or when you're doing some professional work. You want to make sure that all of their logos or the things that they're asking for is in a visible area. It would be such a shame if you've created an effect and then it gets covered behind like the recording button so you can't touch it. And the brand is coming to you and be like, "Hey, why is this effect working?" So
yeah.
testing, testing, testing. And one little tip that I love to give creators is when you have something like that uses plane tracking and you have to use your mobile version to test it,
Oh yeah.
but it is too difficult to test. Like every scanning the QR code every time gets a little tedious. You can download a program called OBS, which is a program that I'm using to stream this actually, and you can use their virtual camera to add in your real time phone footage to the preview panel. I'll see if I can whip up a demo of it in a second, but that's my little tip.
Exactly. I think the AR plan one is a very tricky one because previously, if so, firstly, you cannot test it on your webcam. You have to test it through this QR code on your phone, and also you need to make sure that every user in your phone is your TikTok version is up to date. So at that time, we are kind of launching this feature. A lot of people having that trouble using this feature because their TikTok is not update to the latest version. So do make sure that check out our website learning resources to see if there is any dependency on the TikTok version. So I think, yeah, so this is the one last sense that I will suggest everybody to do. Do not forget to test it on your mobile phone. And sometimes it will look super different in the room, in your web camera and your phone camera. So and also feature will act slightly different because your phone's computation power might be different than your laptop or tower. So do have that kind of mindset in mind as you testing your effect. Yeah, so this is our three things I feel like you will be beneficial as you testing your effect. The next part, I will dive into the actual debugging, that when you start to find out the effect is not working as you want. So this is actually it's not happening all the time. It only happens when you get stuck or something doesn't work. I would say sometimes you will never encounter it when you develop your effect project, but sometimes it will happen and it stop you there. So here is the three very common steps, like a lot of people take for debugging. I feel like it's very like useful. So step one, I think a lot of people kind of miss this step, but I feel like it's also very important, as Celine suggests before. Like sometimes you should restart your computer to see whether you can reproduce the conditions, because sometimes it's not actually the arrows in your notes. It's not the logic arrow or whatever you like you said it wrong. It's actually just it could be the programming crashes, it could be a glitch of your computer, it could even be like any like possible black box errors happening in your computer system.
But
So
speaking
we
of
want to
computer errors,
reduce. Yeah.
I wanted to show you guys all of the amazing effects that our creators has created for the versatile variables section. I'm specifically calling it out because during the last live with Melody, we created an amazing base project model for using for loops and arrays to efficiently create like find an odd one template. Like you can see here that all of the donuts look the same except this one. So it was an amazing session that will teach you, that taught you how you can create a game like this and even built-in levels. And instead of having to copy and paste like 4 times what? 20 different image sequences, you're using the for loop to automate that process. So we've got a couple replies under this comment, and one of this by Mad1 has created this insane looking project that's an addition from Melody's project that they've added a timer and sound effects to and changed the donuts to wires to make it a find a wire game. Isn't this crazy? If the timer runs out, it ends. They've also added a level display. Try to use the larger grids for a hard to tip on my phone. Oh, but hard to tip on my phone, so they stayed with the larger models. But we can download the demo file here and try it out. If you're having problems, use this particular effect, diffuse the wires, to check out if the thing wasn't caused by your computer parts. I'm gonna open up this effect house file to see so that we can test it together. Loading. But second of all, a little preview. The next one is from Florentia. Florentia created this variable that changes color. So they used it to develop a game that requires players to identify a different color. I remember that last time we had a massively viral effect on TikTok that shows you that was based on this idea where you have a different color and then you have to click to find what's the different one. I can't find it. Do you have really good eyesight? Okay, it's this one. Oh my gosh, I did not get one. But you can go and test it out on this link, or I'm going to test it right now in person. This is her page and this is her game color test game. So I'm going to test it right now. Tap on the screen. I gotta record this. Oh my gosh. Ah, do you see the different one? I don't see a different one. Oh, okay. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh.
And you will find a lot of fun when making it.
Yeah, we had a previous live demo similar to this one. And I think, Chinyu, you taught that course.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
the
the
reason
one
I'm talking.
with the AI image Chinyu. So if you
Yeah,
guys also want to
exactly.
see what an AI Chinyu looks like, definitely go check out that
Color
tutorial.
guess.
That is extremely funny. Okay, but going back to your course, let's talk a little bit more about the debugging process.
Yeah, so we have talked about reproducing the condition. It's the same thing. Like basically, it's a very important first step that you need to make sure that you like it triggered by the same action. So for example, I want to design. We want the. Let's go back to this template using it as an example here. So let's say you want to click on this water bottle and it will basically trigger this water bar increase, right? But if let's say it doesn't actually increased as you want, like every time you click on this bottle it have the same arrow, we can basically confirm it is a bug in your notes. This is a bug that you can fix. But if it is just like a glitch, like it didn't drag something like that, then that's probably like right now I actually triggered that bug. So it may caused by your computer. Just we want to remove that kind of possibility here. After you confirm that this is the error, this is a bug in your notes, let's go have a look at your thousands of notes, whatever. But I think there is a tips I want to give you to how to find the bugs. Is you basically need to first like what might be the possible nodes that cause the issue. So for example here it might be relevant to the water can here, right? So let's just find this water stuff here, and let's just search it in the search bar in your visual scripting canvas, and we can search watering can. And you see we got a lot of actually, oh, it's not showing the. So you will find a couple like nodes that are relevant to the water can. Like you will just basically look around to see what might be the possible subgraphs nodes that causing the issue. But the idea I want to give you, I want everybody kind of think about it, is just to um, how do you say, like break down your notes into small module, and start from the most possible notes that causing the issue here. Do not search around like the entire node canvas, you will get lost. But maybe start from the most possible module. Like it could be an arrow happening in your water can animation. It could be the something that like when input is wrong. But the idea is you when you have a good starting point, you should have break down your entire nodes into small part, and so each part should run individually and should run correctly. So when there's an error happen, you can easily find which might be the module that causing the issue here. So yeah, so I will go back to this step idea. So let's say every step you write down could be a subgraph, could be a node module. And when there is something happen, let's say when user click on the watering can icon, the UI doesn't change, then we can just simply check either there is an arrow happen in the click module, or is there issue happening on the UI animation. So it helps you to locate the problem much quicker. Yeah, so go back to the last one, then you are understand like basically where might be the possible root cause, and you can start to fix it. Now I want to show you a very classic issue that you may encounter. Let me create a new project. So this is a typical arrows I notice a lot of people will make, is using the wrong port for triggering the next node. So let's say we want to have a sphere, and I think I want to basically change the material of it by every by a trigger. So I was using the subgraph here called cycle material on tap. So by using the subgraph, I'm able to actually let's grab some of the materials that we provided in the asset library. So just want to show you guys a quick demo here. So I will use standard firm, maybe loading very slow here. Diamond. Okay, so I picked 3 different material, and I will just want to add it here so that you guys will see it how quickly it can actually start interact with your tab.
My favorite are the fuzzy materials, regardless of which one. I just love it. I apply it to every single service. I want to be covered in fur, which is what I'm doing because I live with 3 cats. Yes, I'm covered with fur. But yeah, especially the zebra one.
The zebra one? You like the zebra one?
Yes.
Cool. So I think I got these 3 materials here. So as you say, like every time I tab, the change the material, right? So now let's say we don't want the tap to trigger the change of the material. We want instead we use, let's say, the video record. So we will do the same thing. So on start, the touch begin, on stop, the touch end, and let's just remove this node. So basically, we recreate the interaction by using this video record triggering. So when the user tap on the video record button, and it will change the. You see, now it doesn't actually act like what I want. The logic has some issues here. So now it's time to actually debugging. So let's say, so I think that there is a common issue that happens at you pick the wrong port. So on start actually trigger only one time every time the user press on the button. But let's say if you link the recording port to the touch begin, which means it will trigger the touch begin actions by every frame. So there are certain port, if you look into the node information, you will notice it will keep executing the next node during the recording. So just be cautious when you linking the node to the next node, because not every port run one time, and some of the port is actually triggering multiple times by every seconds. So it also causes the issue like when you set up the wrong ending point, it also will run like it's not by your design. I would say sometimes the error could happen just as small as you link the wrong port. And it's not even like you're missing nodes or you are like using the wrong logics. So just pay attention to all the node description that we provided. So make sure you know exactly what you want, whether you want like this kind of animation, like always changing, or you just want a one-time sense, like let me just remove it, one-time sense like this. Okay, so I think this is the like the final tips I want to give you. Like just pay attention to the different how do you say execution frequency. So the most common node that you will see from every project is actually the start and update. So start will trigger once for the entire effect project, but update will be triggering the next script by every frame. By every frame, I mean like, so I think here is one of the concept explanation. So frame rate is something that used by like a lot of computer screen. So basically the reason you can see, the human eyes can see the animation, the movie, the videos on the screen is because your screen actually refresh at least 24 frames by second, so that your eyes think it is a continuous motion. But it actually just like it tricks your eyes. So in these cases, but also like all the game development is linked to the frame rate, that how the computer refreshing your screen. So by that cases, you need to make sure that logic run with how quickly your monitor refresh every frame, so that the object move as the way you desire, not against it. So it's always comes down to like how the frame refreshing. I will show you guys like as one of the subgraph that I believe is August created. Is called wait for phrase, which is also a very handy subgraph. A lot of people use. Let me just try to find it. So that can actually helps you to reduce some of the frame rate cost error.
Haley is saying in the comments that sometimes she likes to make copies of her project for backup and then delete or disconnect parts of the project to find out where the bug is coming from to narrow it down. I think that's a wonderful hack.
Yeah, yeah, it's always need to reduce the possible options and to find the one that actually is the arrow. That's a great tip. Yeah, so I will try to see if this one has the. Oh no, not this one. Oh, I got it. This is the one. Yeah, I'm not sure. Like, have you guys see any templates have this subgraph, or have you guys ever used this subgraph before and know how to use it?
I think when I asked our ambassadors, it was our ambassador herostudio.com's favorite subgraphs, and he
Oh,
said like
nice.
he uses it very often.
Yeah, I think so. I think the similar concept is wait for seconds. This node is basically executing the next node by like intentionally setting a pause between the previous node and the next node. So in that cases, you can actually be able to control their execution order um, a little bit better. But this one is counting by seconds. So the counting by phrase is quicker. You think about it dividing your second into like by dividing your second by 60, for example, is quicker, so you won't notice it, so it's your effect running more smoothly. So we let me try to find it and we'll send you guys the link later. But yeah, so here is a concept that you can use to test it out. And I would say, because we're talking about execution order, so sometimes when you set up your logic, it's good to actually adding pause between your node module. So wait for a second is something when you intentionally need a delay in your effect. Let's say you want the animation triggered after the user click on the button and there was a countdown 3 2 1 and it start the animation, then you can use this wait for seconds. And also, like, if you want to just have different module executed one by one, you can use this node called sequence. And the sequence is basically will execute the first route, this pathway first, and then after they finish the procedure one, it will execute the procedure two. So they make sure your execution order organizing a way like you can easily to debugging. So how you can use this node to debugging is like you just simply delay this connection. You will see like which route actually causing this issue one by one. Okay. And when, let's say, if you accidentally delete anything, just press on the Command D or Control Z on Windows to bring that link back. So it's always good to break down your nodes into small chunk and using those pause node and procedure nodes to help you find where the error located. Yeah, so that's it. I think this is something you need to consider: free rate, execution order, and I haven't even talked about performance optimization yet, but I would love to hear everybody has some questions or something you want me to dive into it more.
think people are happy about the lecture. But speaking of, I wanted to go back and show you guys finally the amazing project that has been created by Mad1. I finally updated my effect house to the correct level, and we'll try together to wire this explosive machine. So I'm gonna start recording. No, I died immediately. Wait, can you guys also hear like the sound that's coming out? There's music in the background. Can I hear it? Okay. Oh my gosh, I gotta convert it to my speaker for a second because the music is just too good. Here. When you die, it says, "You've died." Try again. But here, I'm gonna restart it. I did get it to work. I did go to round 2 while Chini was explaining. I was not paying attention at all, and I was playing this game. So, here. No, don't play it to my...
Try again. Oh no.
Okay, you guys have to tell me which one to cut. Chini, which one should do? This is 1, 2, 3, 4.
I couldn't.
Tell me. Just give me a number. 1, 2, 3, 4. Guys in the chat, let me know. 1, 2, 3, 4.
3.
3? Okay, I'm gonna see what the chat is saying. No! Chinyu, you killed me!
Oh no.
But guys, that was the effect. It's absolutely amazing. Thank you, Mad1, for making and sharing this file. If you guys haven't already, go check out his file. Plus, also, go and answer the mini quest. For today, you can go to our community.effecthouse.com. I also dropped a link in the comments under this one, Debugging Diaries. No one has left a comment yet, so if you go into your old quests and solve them and link it over here, we will show it in the next live, and you can be the very first one since no one's answered it yet. So, okay, going back to Chinyu.
Yeah, I will just one last tip. So I think just give you guys a little bit of memory refreshing. We already have a good start. We know how to put our code into module, and we find a bug. We test it in different devices, and we also be able to like separate our code into chunk. And now it's the time that you actually submit your effect, right? But before you click on the submit button, I want everybody to have this habit to actually test the performance before you go. So this is a very important step because you don't want to see a rejection after you you actually submitted. So it will be a painful debugging process if there is actually a performance related rejection. So I will show you the tips. So first, you try to use this test performance button for say whether it has some frame rate issue. If it is running smoothly and passed, and now you can actually start to publish it. And after you click on this publish button, submit button, you may still notice that some of your project still get rejected because there are multiple reasons that involve into your effect performance. So here actually is our technical optimization, guys. I won't dive super detail here, but I want you to know that this is a go-to place after you have a performance related effect rejection. I want everybody to share their amazing ideas, effect ideas. So don't give up on the last step. So the best practice for the effect optimization is actually you debug. There's a couple things you need to actually check. So from the feature level is like everything you put in the hierarchy panel has some performance impact. So here we list out a couple things that causing the performance issue. Like we do not use too many generative effects like the fake smile or something like that, and do not use a lot of body avatar drive, and also something like there was some limitation for how many like characters you can put into your task. So those are the limitations you need to keep into consideration before you publish your effect. And also like sometimes when you are designing a super complex animation, you are putting a 3D animation together. I do want you to notice or pay attention to the size of the asset you put into your asset library, because it all do occupy some of the performance like cost. So basically I want to make sure you make sure that your 2D asset is within the range of suggested resolution, and also especially for 3D assets. It's really tricky because depends on what tool you're using. Let's say you are using Blender, you're using other 3D modeling tool. They have different optimization exporting setup. So different setup, you will essentially output different triangles, the number of triangles in your 3D meshes, and will actually impact your effect project size and your performance rate. So I just want to point you to this guide, very handy guide, and do a little bit kind of troubleshooting. And if you have a frame rate issues, and you can go to check out the all these areas like reduce the number of rendered objects, reduce the number of face effects, try to reduce or avoid complex shader calculations, all this stuff. So those are the typical performance issue that we also provide the approach, the process how you can actually reduce it. So yeah, so this is gonna be another topic, another live for sure. Performance optimization is always a big topic in the game, in the interactive domain.
I think
I
it's
won't
somebody's
dive super
whole
detail.
job. Like I think there are
Yeah.
jobs that exist that who are just specialists in optimizing the performance.
Oh yeah, exactly. You're super right. So the optimization it happens both sides. It happens on the hardware side, like there is a hardware optimization for your GPU so that it can run more smoothly, efficiently for complex game. It also happened in the code level. The node you set up, you can actually start to reduce. You can like refine your logic. So for example, I know someone in the comments said like update can causing their performance issues. That's actually true, because sometimes I would say in my past experience, I noticed a lot of people actually try to avoid using update because it's super heavy from the game execution perspective. It basically will execute everything. So by update, I mean, this particular node, it will basically trigger the next node like by every frame. So imagine you got 60 frame by second. Like if your effect run like 3 minutes, then it's gonna be like, okay, do the math for me. So it's like you need to, if you have 100 nodes in the in the project, it's gonna be thousands, millions of times executing. So it's a lot of it's a very like calculation heavy nodes. So just be careful when you using update. And also like what's the difference between the update node and the detection node is let's say we're using a facial movement detection. So it will only trigger the next node when this node detect the the exact facial movement you set up here. It could be an eye blink, it could be a mouth open, but it only triggered once after the camera detect your face movement. But I'm talking about the begin port. If you're using stay, and if your mouse keep opening, it will act like a update node. So it will keep triggering the next node like a 50 phrase by seconds. So just be careful when you're using all this kind of continuous triggering node. Do know like sometimes you just need you just need this node. Do once, and we'll just do once. Don't do n when you can do it once. Yeah, so this is gonna be my last tip for this performance optimization related to the nodes. Let me know if you have any questions.
Sounds good. We are going to end the session today by showing off an effect that was submitted by our ambassador Mike Blackhat in our forums just now during the live, sliding it in. Love that. Let me share my screen. Here we go. This version is named Untitled. I'm wondering how you will title it in the future. But it looks like this is a character from Teenage Titans. I don't know the name, but I do think this character is extremely cute. And you can see that there's a smiling version of this. I'm going to see how far I can go. Okay, this one. Oh my gosh, her lips are so small. Okay. Here. Oh, this one is so hard. No. Is it the one covered behind this? This is why you need to test with the UI, you know? Okay. Oh, here we go. Yay! We have the Effect House logo. Thank you, Mike Blackhat, for submitting this. I know that she's some kind of a wizard, so I think it would be super, super cool if we had like something that stops you from completing the quest. Like she uses her wizarding powers and then the screens get blurry and moves it a little. You can do that by using maybe the post effects like chromatic aberration, makes everything infinitely more blurry, I guess, and maybe something like a motion blur. Oh no, motion blur wouldn't work here. Maybe something like a distort. Ooh, oh my gosh, that is infinitely harder. Yeah, but something like this to spice it up would be my fun idea. But thank you so much. Thank you so much for making this. I will end with a promo. Please go to our Crash Course forum. Today's session is Debugging Diaries. You can go and complete the quest to get your participation. You can show your participation by leaving your projects here. So
Yeah.
that was the end of our long course. Thank you,
Oh,
Jinyu.
by the way, I think just a remind, if you guys want to participate into our effect challenge and competition, just submit your effect with the hashtag Crash Course VS, so that we could select a winner from the backend, and then we're probably gonna highlight a few good effects we noticed and on our social media.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely. So do that. Thank you, Chinyu, for teaching the course. It was wonderful. Now I feel like I can go back to all of my old files and not beat them, crush all my bugs, and then make it publish it to the world. So thank you, Chinyu.
Ending word for
Okay.
debugging is a skill and a mindset. So I hope everybody has this mindset and also this skill to be a very successful effect creator.
Of course.
Good
And
luck.
now that you guys have learned from in the beginning of your effect journey, you will be able to create so many more fun effects. So thank you everyone for being here. It was a pleasure to seeing you guys. All of the files that we've referenced today, I'll make sure to link it somewhere. So if you guys want to go check it out, you can do it at your own time. But otherwise, see you next week on Monday.
Bye bye.
Bye everyone. Bye.